Pretend farmer girl, and I'm going to make some elderberry jelly. I had a special request from my cousin Brian Peel, and man, he is just had a rough couple of years fighting cancer and just everything. So he wants elderberry jelly. I'm making him elderberry jelly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the elderberries in this pot and simmer them, bring them to a boil, and then I'll simmer them again for about 10 minutes and then strain them, but I'll show you the process. Right, here are the elderberries. It's about 3 pounds, and they're frozen, so it'll take a little bit of time. I'm gonna pick out as many of the little stems as I can before it gets hot. What I'm doing right now is, it hasn't come to a simmer yet. I'm just defrosting the berries, and as I'm defrosting them, I'm squeezing the juice out. When I make my own just elderberry syrup, I do the same thing while they're cooking, just because I want to get as much of the juice and goodness out of there as I can. Just kind of rub it against the side to get the juices out of the berries. I want to show you, I'm going to be boiling the lids, and a little trick that I do is I alternate how I put them in. Upside down, right side up. And that way when you're trying to get them out, they don't quite stick together as much. Just a tip. My elderberries did just finish the 10-minute simmer, and now I'm getting ready to strain the juice. And the way that I usually do it is I either get cheesecloth and you do like triple or quadruple folds so that it holds all the seeds back, but I don't have that. So what I'm going to do is use my Omega juicer, and you can just do it, regular, but I figured since there's so many seeds, I'll just use this. And I have my jars ready to go. They're sitting in hot water. They're washed and clean and sitting in hot water so that when I pour the juice in there, it won't crack them. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup fresh squeezed lemon, so I just have a whole lemon and I'll just squeeze that and we'll see how much we get. Get a 1/4 cup out of that. All right, it didn't get much out of a whole lemon. Let's see. Well, little over a half. So I'm going to add some more lemon juice to it. So I changed my mind. I'm not going to pour the whole thing into my juicer yet. I'm going to get the easy juice out first. And that way all of that juice won't get stuck into the juicer. So basically I'm just going to strain out the juice that's already there, and then put the rest in, put it through the juicer. All right, I got about almost 3 cups of elderberry juice out of that, and I wanted to show you that these are the seeds. And if you look just right there, that is them pre-juicer, and this is after. And so, man, it did a great job. Normally when I'm making elderberry, I'll just use a few tablespoons at a time, enough to, if we're not feeling well. But man, this worked really good. So since I need 3 cups, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water to this, just a little bit of water, mix it up, and then strain it again, and then that will give me a little bit more juice. This is the juice, 3 cups, and I'm going to put in the lemon juice and the PECTIN, but I'm going to do full disclosure here always, is I've had more recently than not jams or jellies that have not set up. So I just start out with more pectin than they ask for. This called for one package of Sure Gel pectin, but I'm using 1.5, and it might just come out, you know, like hard Jello, but I'd rather that than it to not set up. So that's what I'm going to do. So basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stir this all up, bring it to a boil, and then I'll add the sugar and the butter and bring it up to a hard boil. Boil it 1 minute and turn it off and put it in the jars. So I'll come back when it's nice and hot. So I have my lids staying warm over there. It helps for the seal. I know there's controversy on whether it really helps or not, but that's what I'm doing. I have my grabber thingy and my magnet thingy to pull the lids out. I have my jars sitting in hot water, and since we are moving or in the process, I don't have my regular canner. It doesn't have the racks that they sit in, but I'm just going to use what I have. All right, it is almost a full boil. I'm sorry about the steam. Basically, a full boil is a boil that you cannot stir down. Once it gets to that, you time it for 1 minute. So I'm going to set my timer right now. Pulled it off of the heat. I'm going to let this calm down a little bit, and then I'm going to put them in the jars. It did really well, actually. It had the butter in it, so it didn't foam up, but it still has a lot of air in it, so I'm just going to stir it down a bit before I put it in my jars. So I got the jelly poured into the jars. I had the jars, the lids heating. I wiped the rims with vinegar and then put the lid and the ring on. And since I do not have my cooker with the rack, what I did is I just took the empty, the ones that, the jars that I did not use, and filled it with water and just put them in there, because the last thing I want is when it starts boiling to for my jars to lift up and go all over the place. So that's just what I did as a placeholder. If you have a different idea, let me know, but that was my idea. And as this gets to a full rolling boil, I will start the 5 minutes. That looks pretty close. So for half pints, you process 5 minutes. All right, that's boiling really good, and I'm really glad that I have those empty jars in there to hold the places for the jars with jelly. Otherwise, I think that they'd be floating all over the place. So that was a win. All right. What I'll do sometimes, instead of tipping the jars, is I'll just put a towel on top, and this helps to get the water that's on top so you don't accidentally wipe it down and get a false seal. But I was able to get 6.5 half pints. Oh, did you hear that? 6.5 half pints of elderberry jelly. This one wasn't filled up all the way, so I did not process it. That's why it has the plastic lid. And I'm excited because this will last a while, and I'm gonna send a couple to my cousin Brian in Utah. At his request, I made some for him. The other thing is the lemon that I used. I don't have my dehydrator here right now, so I'm just gonna let these dry, and then I'll be able to use them in tea. And then the last thing, as a sneak peek at, am I gonna let this boiling hot water go to waste? I'm not going to let it go to waste. I do my own laundry by hand. So stay tuned for an episode of how I hand wash my laundry. I use this boiling water for the whites, and that way it doesn't just go to waste. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and learned something. This is Pretend Farmer Girl signing out.